A day or so ago, a man traveled from California, um, made a little detour, but ended up in Washington, D.C. I think he rode by train. Got to see the land, so to speak. He went to the hotel, booked a room. He knew the hotel, and it was a purpose why he booked himself in the hotel. Because there was going to be this big dinner, and all of the, or most of the cabinet members, some congressmen, a lot of the press is going to be there, along with the President of the United States as well as the Vice President. His motives weren't to cheer them on. His motives were to kill them. Now, you have to understand, some may have very fiery views that may essentially consider the president as let someone else take that position. And that seems to be what this particular man had. And when the press dinner began to start, remember, there was a lot of people, big ballroom. I think over 2,000, could sit over 2,000 guests. There was a lot of people in that room. While outside the room, this man tried to get in there, made a dash for it, at least that's what some of the reports say. Fired a few shots. I think one hit a Secret Service agent. Fortunately, the man was wearing his bulletproof vest, so he may have went to the hospital, but really no lasting damage. And he was released later on that evening. And the man was caught. Of course, that interrupted the press dinner, and everybody was forced to evacuate. Then they read his manifesto. Supposedly the underlying reason why he embarked on this journey to do what he did. And in this manifesto, he said specifically, and it was in his background that he had joined this Christian fellowship or club while he was going to school. A smart guy. Went to Caltech. Very smart guy. Of course, most things you're going to hear from this man is that he's deranged. He's a beef, and that's the reason why we have to cut down on the type of angry dialogue that we have. And that's true. We do need to cut down on it. Let me turn off the light, okay? But his Christianity certainly wasn't showing then. He was quite upset. But he put a reason for it. And he said, if I can get this straight, He said, those who turn the other cheek, that if someone, that's all right if it's you. If it's you that's suffering, if you want to turn the other cheek, that's on you. But if there's someone else that's in trouble and you turn the other cheek, then you are complicit. Whatever happens to that person that's wrong, their death, their injury, their disrespect, whatever happens to be, that you are complicit in it. That's a strong statement. I think that bears answering. Because essentially, how many of us, I remember a few days ago, the situation came up in my family. And I remember talking to my aunt. And I told her, if this person does this, it's going to be very difficult for me to just sit there and do nothing, because I can just feel it. The rage boiling, and you want to do something to halt that because you know it's hurting someone that you love. It's hurting someone that you care about. So, you got to do something about this. I remember earlier, same thing happened with my sister. It's a good thing that she didn't tell me about what was going on beforehand. That would have probably put everyone in danger by my actions. And it wasn't to turn the other cheek. So, the question then becomes, do you turn the other cheek when it is someone that's in trouble? Do you just sit there passively while they go through torture and agony and just say, Lord's going to help you. Lord's going to help you? Because admittedly, that doesn't sound good to the person who is suffering at the hands of another. So this is not necessarily a light question to answer. And we have to be careful with how we answer this. Now, I don't profess to be wise. There are those who are much wiser than I am. Those who have been living on this earth longer, who have more experience, who have actually dealt with these things. And so could tell you in a much more certain tone. But as seeing what this man, whose intent was to kill at least those in the administration, if not the president himself, can you sit there and do nothing while others are being hurt? Let me give you my answer right now. As the Lord has given it to me, I'll give it to you. The answer is no. You cannot just sit there while others are hurt. But we have to understand several factors. Number one, that the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. But we have to believe that they are mighty through the pulling down of strongholds and everything that exalts itself against the name of God. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness, against spiritual wickedness in high places. That sometimes sounds a lot more, it sounds more theoretical than it does reality, but that's true. We don't use the same weapons as others do. So we don't go around shooting people. We don't go around hitting people. We don't go around setting bombs. We don't go around essentially hurting others, even if we feel that is their destiny, that's where they should go. We don't do that. Because vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, I will pay. Unless the Lord has specifically designated you as the bringer of vengeance, and you're his arm of justice, then we leave it to God. And most of the time when God employs his arm of justice, it's not a saint. It's someone that the Bible would normally categorize as heathen. Read the Bible, and many times the Lord will send something or someone or some group, not even affiliated with God, to do his will. We think that's just something that came up? No. That's God fulfilling his promise. So, the short answer is that we don't fight other people. We don't shoot other people. We don't commit violence against other people. Now, let me put you this way. If this person who needs defending and you are within earshot or arm's reach of them, who's to say that you cannot stand up with that person and share in what they're going through? Because it's easier for two people to bear it than one. Will you move yourself into harm's reach to be with that other person? Maybe you even think about it. Think about someone on the train track. You have no time to dilly-dally, no time to think of what's going to happen. So you push that person or child out of the train track, allowing yourself to be hit instead. That's the ultimate sacrifice. But that's what Jesus did. Paul talks about it in the sense of that for some good men, just a few people, maybe a few people, would be willing to die for them. But while we were yet sinners, Jesus died for us. That's an interesting lesson. That Jesus put himself in harm's way, that we would be taken out of harm's way. So maybe the answer to that young man's statement is not to physically go and cause harm to others. Because you know as that would take place. One does something, payback goes the other way, payback goes the other way, And then there's a war that many people who are innocent are drawn into it and are killed or severely injured in many ways. And it spreads further than what we would think it should. But maybe the question is, are you willing to sacrifice yourself for the beliefs that you hold? That's a big question. That's a huge question. And something that should not be taken lightly. That means you will never see, there's a possibility you will never see your wife, your husband, your mother, your father, your grandparents, your children, nieces, nephews, aunts, uncles, cousins, friends, and all those you hold close to your heart. Never see your pastor again. Never will see the sisters and brothers that you would normally congregate with at church. Never see them again. Are you willing to take that sacrifice? If needed. Now, if it's not needed, don't throw your life away. But the question came up with the young man. And he said, essentially, we cannot turn the other cheek to harm that has taken place. And in a sense, he's right. But our way of confrontation is much different than the world's. And we have to believe that. After all, the Lord may also, as the Hebrews who went in the fiery furnace, the Lord didn't have to save them for them to believe in Yahweh and to believe that bowing down to Nebuchadnezzar's image was wrong. They were never going to do that, even if they were burnt to a crisp. This will happen that God saved them that day. And possibly God will save you that way. But the question still remains, are you willing to stake your life on one's belief in protection of someone else? Are you willing to share their pain, their burden, their toil, their hurt? Don't answer yes all of a sudden. That's a hard question. And it's something only you can answer. But just know, the Lord will always give you an answer of what you need to do. Once he gives you the answer, follow it. God bless you. In Jesus' name, take care.